feel like when I sing, people are reminded of their humanness.
You say you'd rather be alone. Hey.
A lot of the songs that I have out are not sad, but melancholy, and they exist in a very human place. I know that's a journey that I've been taken on by many artists, and so I love to kind of be somebody who can carry that torch and take others there with me. My name is Brennan Hepler. I go by Beane when I'm on stage. I grew up in the Montoursville, Williamsport area. I went to Loyalsock all through elementary, middle school, and high school. I think the first song I learned was a Toby Keith song, and I was like 5. And I pretty much never shut up after that, kind of. There was a moment there where I took a little detour, but I really reignited my love for singing during high school and performing and through the Uptown Music Collective and school musicals and all that stuff. Once I felt that spark from performing, it never really went away. And that kind of informed a lot of the decisions that I made going forward. I have been wedding singing for a few years. It's a great source of income. And you're doing what you love and you're learning songs that have made people happy for 50, 60 years. So I love that job. Um, I don't really want to do it for the rest of my life because I want to do my own music. But you know, I'm never unhappy going to a wedding. And you get to look cute too. Like, hello. I went to the Uptown Music Collective, and it's a fluid machine. So it's kind of constantly changing how it approaches putting together shows and organizing the kids who participate in the program. And so you take lessons every week, and then I audition for the special performance group, which is the group of kids that put on the big tribute shows that they do 3 or 4 times a year at the CAC and the CTL. So the older you get in the program, the more involved you get in the kind of direction and the production of the shows as well. So that by the time you're a junior or a senior in high school, you're the one who's directing the shows, and that's really incredible too, just in terms of the learning experience with that. It's insane, and you can't really get that anywhere else. The collective, a lot of the shows that they put on are tribute shows, and so our job through those shows is to learn the record and replicate the record the best that we can. And so by learning from all of these artists, these like legendary great artists, I did the Beatles and I did Soundgarden and a whole bunch of Motown artists and like all these things. By trying to duplicate that, you're building this set of skills that's really beneficial if this is something that you want to do down the line. So the way that it's laid out really is beautiful. And honestly, I wouldn't say that it's reflective of the real world. I would say that the collective is even a little bit more intense, which then when you get into the real world makes you seem over prepared, which is such a blessing that you don't really realize until you're out of the program. I think that like anything, you learn from the greats, and so that's what you're doing at the collective constantly. So that by the time I get on a stage like American Idol stage, I am able to kind of translate that into any song that I'm tasked with doing on the show. In addition to that, the performance experience from the collective was so crucial to allowing me to have successful performances down the line. You don't need to be somebody who is familiar with performing to be on American Idol. There's lots of people on the show that's their first time singing in front of somebody. But for me to have that skill set, I was able to do some really cool things. American Idol, one of their casting agents reached out to me through my Instagram. I think that we're at an age where our social media can kind of act like a resume of sorts. And I spent the bulk of my time during the pandemic working on writing my own music, putting out little like 1 minute clips on my socials that I think then, somebody found it and somebody was like, oh, he might be good to come audition. So they reached out to me to audition. I did the whole thing through Zoom over a couple weeks, and they decided that they wanted to fly me out to Ojai to see the judges. So that was pretty unexpected, pretty nifty. Like my mom would be like, "Oh, you're going to be on American Idol someday or whatever," but it's never really something that you consider yourself doing until you're doing it. It's so out of it's so out of the box and it's so like in left field that you're like, no, I'm not going to do this reality singing show. But the time and place was so right, and I couldn't say no. Hollywood Week lasted 2 weeks. We got through that. And then I had to kind of keep my mouth shut about being in the top 24 until it was revealed. So I went back to Beverly Hills to West Hollywood in the middle of March. And I think that it was revealed, the top 24 was revealed at the end of March. So that's kind of when I was allowed to talk. So the whole process, start to finish, from my first being reached out um, to now, has been a little bit shy of a year. I placed in the top 12. I feel like I left right when I needed to. And since then, it has been, honestly, I'm still catching up on sleep, but I got to come home and do this amazing show, this sold out show at the CAC, and to be able to say thank you to my hometown and for them to come and vibe out and listen to live music for a while, that meant the world to me. And I'm still riding that high, absolutely still riding that high. So I landed in Boston the day after I was eliminated. And the second the plane hit the tarmac, I got a text that said, "Hey, we need you to come back to LA." So the next day I got on another plane and we did the Ellen show, and I got to sing, and I got to meet her and talk to her for a second, which is so cool as a queer person to meet someone who is such a trailblazer for our community. That was very meaningful to me. And also that was the first time that I had sang outside of the competition setting. And so to be reminded of why I sang. My best friend growing up, Jasper Van Dyke, he went to Berkeley, and he kind of turned me on to the idea of that school as something that's feasible, something that I could actually do. So I think Boston was the easiest city to move to from Williamsport, because it's a beautiful, highly populated city, but it's manageable and it's not really intimidating. So it's the whole experience, top to bottom. I love. Wouldn't change a thing. Truly, would not change a thing. Then people at home have been the most incredible, and it's not that I didn't expect that. It's that you don't anticipate just how sweet people can be and the volume of that. I think that we're lucky. We're from a place where, everybody has their opinions, and that's fine, but we're loyal to one another. And I think people would absolutely go to bat for me at this point. And that means the world to have a hometown that's, with me, ride or dies. So I'm looking forward to hopefully doing more hometown shows. So I get to meet more people and love on more people and, make it happen. I'm very blessed for the community back home.
At UPMC, we're pioneering new ways to treat cancer, and we're working to prevent it. We're advancing new technology to look more closely at disease and helping you breathe easier. We perform the world's first heart-liver transplant, and we're experts at keeping your heart beating strong. We're a global team of more than 90,000, advancing care everywhere and delivering it closer to you. UPMC, life-changing medicine.